I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. And God, we just thank you for this time that's set aside to come and do business for the school. God, I pray that you give us wisdom and the things that we need to know, God, to make decisions that will be what's best for the school district and the kids that go here. God, I just pray that you would be with all the teachers and the students and all the faculty and staff as school gets kicked back off tomorrow. God, I pray that you would just help them to start strong. And God, we just pray that this is the greatest year in the history of the Huntsville School District. God, I just thank you for who you are and what you did for us on the cross. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
We call the August 15th, 2023 National Board of Education meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Welcome everybody. Glad to see all of y'all back. Mr. Ward, go ahead.
Okay. First item on the agenda for us is the consent agenda. We have the agenda for this evening. We have minutes from July 27th. We have corrected minutes from July 10th. The only correction on that was the starting date for Mr. Johnson, actually. We had it wrong on the original one that we approved last time in our district financial reports. So, is there any questions? I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I get a motion to approve. Approved first by Connie, second by Josh. All in favor?
Moving on to our special reports, we have our student achievement report coming up first. I'll turn it over to Mr. First.
Okay, I'm assuming that your pages are in the same order as mine, so if not, I apologize. The first page that you'll see on the academic report is district scores, readiness, and those bars. You'll see National, Arkansas Department of Ed, and then Huntsville School District being the third set of bars going across there. The first color that you see is exceeding. The next color that you see is ready. The next color is close, and then the white color is in need of support. Just to help you kind of understand that. So that's our district overall, and then you see the grade breakdowns below that for each subject: English, reading, science, and math. So 2 pages after that, you'll see just kind of a growth summary for 9th grade. The next page is 10th grade growth summary. I know I'm going through this kind of quick, but I'll let you have some time to go back and look at them after. The next page is just 9th and 10th grade. Same report, just in a little different form. Next page is 10th grade. And after that, you'll see 10th grade broken down by demographic. So all of our student populations, you see your gifted students, economically disadvantaged, IEP, migrant, 504, all of those different populations.
Questions?
The next sheet is 9th grade. The next sheet is the breakdown by demographic for 9th grade. And then your next sheet, I'm right here on this one. I'm going to show it to you just so we're all on the same page. The next sheet is, that's a comparison from year to year of our ready and exceeding. So you can see the color-coded, if you follow the color code, that is the same group of kids, how they scored in 9th grade and then how they scored in 10th grade. And then the next sheet is the same thing, but for intermediate school. So you've got scores from 2016 all the way up to 2023. And I didn't mention that 2020 is blank. In both of those, that's the year that we didn't take a summative test because of COVID. Your next sheet is middle school, grades 6 through 8. And the last column has the combined ready and exceeding. And these pages don't have a cohort comparison, but there is a cohort comparison on one of the next pages. So there's a blank page, and then the last page has science and STEM. When you see ELA, that's English and writing combined, and then STEM is math, science, engineering. So that last page for middle school, or last two pages, excuse me, for middle school is the comparison, the cohort comparison, so you can see the growth from year to year. So you have your 5th grade Aspire scores there. How they did in 7th grade, 6th grade, on up to 9th grade. Or 7th, 8th, and 9th, sorry. And then moving to this page, I apologize, this one's a little bit harder to read than I expected. I think when we run it through the copier, it come out a little bit different than it did originally. But this is St. Paul, grades 3 through 10, comparison from year to year, color coded again so that you can follow the growth from year to year. And then your last two pages are going to be Watson Primary, and you'll notice it's not ACT Aspire scores, it's MAP scores because they don't take the Aspire summative assessment. So again, I know I went through that really fast, but hopefully you've had a chance to look over that prior to, and then obviously you can take them with you and look at them a little bit more, and then principals are prepared to answer any questions if you've got any.
Okay, Matt, on the one that, like the Huntsville Intermediate School Aspire data, like, it says English 2023. So what grade is that? Is it like, because I can't see.
Sorry,
Oh,
yeah,
up there at the top.
it is
I
hard to
see.
read, but
So it's
grade 3 is the
4,
first column. Yep, then 4th
4
and
and
5th.
5. Okay, now I see that. All right.
When will parents get their individual child's results?
We send those home parent teacher conferences or before. Yeah, that's what we've done in the past is send them home parent teacher conferences.
You should have gotten the elementary, like the primary math scores, because we before school let.
Just overall math, science and reading are struggled throughout.
Mm-hmm. Which we did adopt a science curriculum at some of the lower grade levels this year. So we we're just starting that at 3 through 5, and so we're hoping that kind of helps build things up as we're going through. So.
We saw this year statewide, either little growth, no growth, some steps back in the test. And the ACT Aspire, they put that out and they put out the scores. And then you're also in this, at least in my opinion, in this kind of funky transition time where now we've finished that test, we don't have it anymore. We're moving to the Atlas test, which is different, and it'll be kind of similar format, but it'll be more geared towards our state standards and stuff like that. So, got to figure out how much time do we spend diving into this and then preparing for that. And the answer is spend a little bit of time on both. Okay.
From what I read, the Atlas was to be more age appropriate.
Well, so the Atlas will be grade level. There won't be any questions that are outside of the grade level. The difficulty will change within the question, which is, or within the standard, I should say, which is kind of hard to comprehend. But somebody asked a question like, "Who's our president?" All of you can answer who our president is, but can you answer what his middle name is? And so that's kind of how the difficulty steps up, because not very many people know, and I can't remember what his middle name is, even though they said it that day. It's definitely not that. But like Mr. Warren said, we are transitioning to that new assessment, and it's going to be standards based. So the things that we're teaching, that's what the test is based on. ACT Aspire wasn't necessarily based on our standards, and so some of the things that were measured with ACT Aspire we may or may not have gotten deep into, and so we're excited that everything is going to be aligned moving forward. It's going to be hard to see, like these growth comparisons that these principals provided for you tonight. It's going to be hard to measure that next year because, ACT Aspire is measuring something different than what our new assessment's going to be measuring. So,
what other states will be giving this assessment? Do we know?
Our Atlas assessment, it's Arkansas assessment.
That makes it hard too,
Exactly. Yeah, which right now, ACT Aspire, you look at the national average, really it's Arkansas that is using the ACT Aspire. So I don't think there's another state out there. There's little pockets of places that use the ACT Aspire, but no states are using it besides Arkansas. Any other questions about any of that? It's a lot to digest, isn't it? These principals do a great job of really analyzing all of that. I hit them pretty short notice on getting this to me, but they already had the information. So please know that they're constantly diving into this data and getting into it with their teachers and looking for areas of growth and striving to close those gaps anywhere we can. So
Matt,
they do a great job.
if I could elaborate on high school for next year, it's going back to more like the old end of course exams where we test physical science, biology, algebra 1, and geometry like we did about 10 years ago, or longer actually, more like 15 years ago. So that should be a better grasp on what they actually know if we just test them on content. So we'll see some improvement. And we still have the ACT for 11th grade. We test every kid. Some schools test out, have kids waver that they don't think are going to do real well. We test them all. And ours is slowly rising back up where it needs to be. So how do you want to add that?
That's a good point.
Are the teachers in intermediate excited about the new science curriculum? What's the feedback on that?
They're very excited to have something. And in the past, the ACT Aspire has typically been the science part as a reading test, and there's tons of reading in it, so we're hoping that helps.
Yeah, for 9th and 10th grade, that's the same thing, it's just a reading test.
Yeah. We were a little nervous about adopting the science curriculum just because there is the potential that they'll change the standards moving forward, but we adopted everything for 1 year, just for this year, so that the teachers would have something in their hands that's standards based and a good guide for them. So.
And we use HMH for our math and literacy also, so they'll be familiar with the layout going into it.
Is that, didn't we standardize on that through all the
HMH, not all the levels, but we do have HMH, math, science, reading, or literacy in most levels. Math at middle school is Reveal Math, which is through McGraw-Hill, and then at high school it's Savaz. I may be saying that wrong, but so our math is a little bit different as we go up.
Now,
I think
HMH wasn't
St. Paul's
available.
middle school is still HMH Math as well. So, sorry.
HMH wasn't available at the K2 level for the literacy, so
Right.
that's why ours is benchmarked.
Benchmark, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
sorry.
was gonna say, that's why we're benchmarked at K2.
Well, we got our packets late, and I didn't have time to, I didn't really have time to go through everything, but
Yeah.
I know last year, Kayla, you guys at at the middle, intermediate were kind of under the gun, because, you know, but I thought you'd done good to hold, and to me, it looks like you've gone up in several areas.
Yeah, the teachers worked hard. We know we still have work to do. We're making a plan for this year, but we are proud with any growth that we have.
Yeah. Because the way we read that map, right, like if it's yellow and the next year's yellow, that's the same group of kids, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I was reading third grade English, I mean, a reading test as well, right?
Do what now?
The English is basically a reading
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
I mean, the reading score doesn't show it, but the English score,
Yeah, the English
It
was
is,
great.
but it includes more like grammar stuff instead of some. I mean, it is reading, but you know, you have to put in like grammatical stuff, or nouns, pronouns. It has stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the reading part is more. I mean, it's a lot, and then it asks like comprehension questions.
I started to,
Yes. Yeah. They've worked. The teachers have worked hard. The students have worked hard. So.
So some big, like in math, it looks like, you know, those kids went up and. So, yeah, good job. I appreciate it. And then Jennifer, what do you think about your math scores? Because they were, I didn't even have time to look at them earlier in the year, all looks like everything's going up.
Yes, ma'am. Same kind of situation, the color coded are the cohorts. Well, sort of. So you can see, I know, sorry, my brain does not work like anybody else's, I think. So you see that I kind of started with the previous years, and then we built onto that to compare the 2 years for our growth. And so you see our beginning, middle, and end of year, and then that final column shows the growth. And if you go down to that first grade column, the teal, you know, that they grew 4 points throughout the year, but that 15, and I made a keyboarding error or a mathematical error, sorry, it should be 14, but that cohort grew. If you see in the table from 21-22, they ended the year at 43% in kindergarten, and so by the end of the year in first grade, they had grown 14 percentage points. So that cohort grew quite a bit throughout their first grade year, and then same with second grade. And you know, we continue to be really proud of kindergarten from 21-22 to 22-23, and that was a lot of growth there, and same in math. So like Kayla said, we still finding areas where we need to improve. When you look at the school improvement plan, which I know is further down in our agenda tonight, we're looking at where our data points are coming from and how we're reading those data points and making instructional decisions a little bit different this year. So.
I guess I should explain the BOY, MOY
I figured it out, sorry.
Yeah. Beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year.
The boys
Thank you.
are-
Boy, boy, and boy.
Yeah,
boys.
I did have to look at it.
Sorry.
I was like,
I
There's the
meant
girl dad.
I meant to point that out, and I forgot. I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah, we all see it and know what it means. Sorry.
I'm gonna point out, like, St. Paul, I mean, your scores go up, and then, you know, like, you hit that 8th grade, you know, there's a drop that people need to understand, it's the whole different testing, we don't have, teachers all common necessarily, and it's just a whole new ballgame when
It
you
is.
get that jump, when there's that grade change.
It is, it really is.
Getting students to care about the test and the.
Yes.
Their best.
Yes, yes, yes.
A whole different personality of them kids in the 8th grade.
Do you have anything else on this?
Like I said, there's a lot.
There's a lot to go through.
The student bullying report is next. We do this annually regarding the statistics. We've added a written report to it this year.
And so you all have a copy in your packet. I just broke it down by the buildings, in number of incidents and actions taken. There were 11 additional complaints or allegations, but they did not fit the criteria of bullying. So, but they were addressed in a different way, like a safety plan or no contact or dismissed because they didn't follow that pattern. They probably would have dealt with as a conduct issue. Unfortunate, but it does happen. We have a website that's easy to access for parents, students, bystanders to file complaints, and anything that comes through that comes to me and then sent to that building principal, and we are obligated by OCR to follow a investigation plan, and we have certain forms that we fill out, and then kind of follow an investigation plan.
So they have a set of standards you have to follow on the bullying cases?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How's the number of complaints this year compared to last year? It seemed like we had a lot more last year.
You know what, I don't even remember, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just seemed like this was.
I wanna say we had 13
But it just seemed like
or
it
something
has went
last
down.
year. I don't remember, but I can check that out. The buildings have been very diligent about, this is bullying, you cannot do that anymore. Athletics, we've bought, excuse me, we have signs and stickers and different things that are posted everywhere, and we added posters. I think all the buildings still display posters, and so I think there's a lot more awareness that, hey, that's called bullying now. We cannot do that, that's not allowed.
And
Hopefully that's helpful.
all buildings have their own behavior expectations. They went through all of that during our PD this week and last week, and they're updating all of that. They'll explicitly teach all the kids the behavior expectations, which can seem silly at times, but they're going to take those kids to those different areas in the building and say, this is what we expect. And that's part of Jennifer and I and Sarah are all in a Thrive Academy, and that's part of that training is building those behavior expectations and implementing that. And so all the building principals are working on that to help even more.
I mean, just off the top of my head, it seems like they went down considerably from last year.
I don't know why, but I want to say 13 last year, but I can't promise that's it. But I can find out for you. I don't think that has to have approval or anything, it's just a report
it's
that
just
we
a
have to
report.
give every year.
If there are any other questions regarding that, and we'll get you that number. from last year. Moving on to the superintendent report. We have the financial projection report, and then I put in the new employee stipend list. Because of the way our stipends are structured, the auditor, I'm gonna go to that, which is the second page first. Because of the way that our stipends are structured, the auditor said we need to go ahead and create a list of, you know, who's getting what as far as the stipends and the amount. So you have a list of, and these are only the new personnel from this year, of their stipend. Or if they are an administrator, it's their actual salary that they would give for contracted. So we have our assistant principal at the middle school, our athletic director, and our principal at the middle school. And then the rest are coaches that were before. Well, they are coaches, but if we, you know, if we had anybody that was doing academic or whatever, they'd be listed there too. That we knew. Okay. So the projection report, still working on that last period, which is where everything is finalized, but again, our July balance started at 1.4. We did have revenue, not necessarily unexpected, but didn't seem like it was as much from last year in July. And then our new foundation funding amount came in as well. And then you will see that our expenditures, July is a low month for salaries for the district in general, so that's why the expenditures are a little bit lower than norm. That'll jump up quite a bit next month, so that'll equal out. But you know, feel pretty good about where we are right now, fiscally still. So, and the rest of it is just projected numbers, kind of guess from last year, and we had to adjust. And the last thing, I just added, superintendent updates. I felt like it, instead of, I might be able to answer some questions in this segment, but we have conducted interviews for the SRO positions. We will have one in place for tomorrow. The city is still interviewing. They've got one more candidate to interview tomorrow as well. They are, I talked to Chief Thomas today. He said we're going to be in buildings as a police force, so it's not going to be like, it's just going to be the one gentleman. They're going to be in there until that last, and they'll be in there always. We've invited them to come in, we'll feed them lunch, we'll do all that type of stuff. But until they finalize that last position, we're going to be in and out just all over the department.
No, when you say they're gonna be in the buildings, does that include St. Paul, or?
Yeah, we talked about how they're going to be able to get into St. Paul as well, so, yeah. We even, in those interviews and that discussion, we just kind of prompted out, what if we added one that was down in St. Paul as well? So that's kind of on the radar. It's not necessarily solidified, but it's something that we can discuss with the city. We started a land survey back in June. It's come over through into July. That's part of the Buck Bond Foundation trying to donate to build there. They are in progress. They're in phase 2, which I don't know surveys, so I don't know how many phases there are. I'm assuming there's 2, but I'm not sure. They are making their way through, and hope sense that they'll be completed with it pretty soon, but I'm not sure. I have signed the contract with Integrity, and they have started the application process with Arkansas Energy Office for the low funds, so that's where we are on that. Took a while for everything to get settled in that contract. It was 185 pages, so it took me a while to read it, so, but it is ready to go and has been signed. This is the master facilities plan cycle year. It's odd years. So, in doing that and looking at that, we had talked to and are considering partnering with, contracting with a third party that would come in and help us assess our facilities, assess not quality, but based on their age and how much partnership funding we might be able to apply for and get. Then we'd be bringing that to you, like this is what this gentleman has said. He might even come here if we decide to go that route. We're just in the initial talking with him, but he'll help us get a vision for our buildings, prioritize our needs, that type of thing. So
We're gonna have to pay him to do this.
we will have to pay him to do it. It was the master facilities was a stipend that was eliminated on our salary schedule whenever we changed our salary schedule last May or March. So that stipend is and this is a little bit more than that stipend, but that's kind of what we would use towards that. If you want to talk about the payment.
It's just an individual company, or are we looking at multiple?
It is an
companies, or-
individual. He is actually, his name is Dr. Charles Stein. He kind of works through the Arkansas Public School Resource Network.
So he does this a lot.
He does this a lot. He works with Springdale, Bray Grove, Farmington. Well, I don't know that he works with Farmington. I'm trying to remember the name of the schools that he works with. Those are the two main ones that he has talked about.
And he was in on a lot of the design process through the facilities, our state facilities department, and so he understands all of that completely.
He helped start the program. He helped start the foundation, not foundation funding, I would say the partnership funding program with the state of Arkansas. So he's pretty well versed in it.
Yeah.
His role is to, assess where you are, and then if you need help in funding, he's going to help maximize the potential of that.
So it could potentially save us a lot of money if we're able to get partnership funding to help pay for the things that we need to repair anyway.
A little bit of risk in it is that, it does expose those things that you need help with. So I mean, once you shine a light on that, you have to take care of something. You have to do something with it. So
Well, Madison is one of the fastest growing, so we're gonna have places to put children.
yeah.
Very much so. Timing on this, what are we looking at? On making a decision on bringing it back to us,
Well, I'm just kind of, no, it's not necessarily that I'm going to be seeking approval. The cost is underneath anything as far as that threshold. Just kind of want to put it on your map that if you brought another person in, this is what they would do. We're just kind of processing through how much would it help, what would it do for us in general. So that was just putting it on your radar. I'm skipping the next bullet point because I want to end with it. The Watson primary remodel is basically complete. There's little things here and there, but it's going to be in place and getting ready to be used tomorrow. I said basically complete. The new bathroom at the St. Paul facility is finished and has been in use. We have new pickup and drop off procedures in some areas tomorrow.
It's gonna be a Facebook friggin' blog.
I know. But,
It's gonna be better, I mean,
Oh, it's gonna be
Long
better,
run.
I agree with it, I mean, but you know what it's gonna, I mean, drama Queen City.
the grades are in place at the intermediate, and we regraded the road here a little bit, so that'll be ready.
They did, the shoulder drops off quite a bit, or did drop off quite a bit. They did bring some gravel in, smooth that out today. And then where our drainage comes through back here, they put a grade across that. And so it'll be.
Won't damage your vehicle on that part of it.
Any correspondence in Steve?
Yeah. Big one. Been going dark.
I want to remind people, please don't park at our building before 2:45. This is a safety issue. It's an emergency management issue. Police is going to be at each campus. They've said they're going to be here directing traffic in the morning and in the afternoon, especially those first few days. So just remember that. I was telling somebody today that I drove by McNair Middle School and Vandergrift first thing this morning. I was late, so this was like 7:15, and traffic was from turning lane in McNair all the way back to the stoplight. And then if you were on the east side trying to get into Fayetteville, you were backed up a couple of miles because of one lane. So this happens everywhere. It's not just going to be here, but give us some patience.
Yeah, but everywhere,
Big
there's
race.
room for it.
I know.
We get a little squeezed down on space.
Yeah. Last report that I looked at, this was Friday of last week. Our current enrollment was, this excludes pre-K, was 2,299. That was up from 2,232 at the end of last year. It may have gone up a few students today. At a quick glance, I didn't look at pre-K to be able to tell you what that was.
Pretty jump.
That is a pretty good jump.
Do we have any classes that are, like, Jennifer's going?
Yeah, my
That's what I
second
was
grade
just
class
thinking.
is huge. They're the COVID holdout, so there were 9 of them in kindergarten, and they're sitting at 187 right now. So they're our biggest group in our building. So, and we enrolled at least 10 this week.
So I'm gonna have to add a second grade teacher.
Not right now. What we'll do is I ask the principals to do I hate to use terminology, but it's terminology I've learned. It's a warm body. So, on this first day tomorrow, I'll task them with like how many warm bodies are in our building this first day. And we'll kind of get a gauge of the second grade at 200 kids now instead of one almost. And then we'll do another one at day 5, and then we'll do another one at day 10, and then we have until October 1 to get everything finalized and
What's the
people
average?
hired.
What's the maximum for second grade class?
So your average has to be 23, but you cannot have any more than 25.
So you can have 25 in class. That's really what it boils down.
It's not good. That's max for like junior high. I mean, that's what functions. So yeah, that's not good. So every class is having that. We need to look at that. Hard for everything. It's hard to, it's just hard for everything.
Just 2 more things. The Coke contract came up for renewal, and we are going to renew it. Coke is our vendor for athletic events. They put vending machines in. We get some funds back from them, revenue from it. So we will sign a 5-year contract.
And does that money go to the athletic department?
Well, and if it's vending, it'll go to whatever vending
Where
building.
that is on that campus?
Most of it is
I think each campus has a vending machine, at least in their teacher workroom, and they receive funds back from that. So.
I'm gonna remind people about free and reduced packets, getting those back into us. I think we've got a pretty good start on it, but,
When are those due?
pardon?
When are those due?
We have till.
October 1's the cutoff, so September 30th.
Do we know what percentage we're at right now?
No, we've not even looked at that yet. I can tell you we're ahead of collecting forms where we've been in the past. How many forms have you already processed this?
I've processed close to 300 forms already.
Yeah, and we've not even started the first day of school, so that's, yeah.
It's a big jump.
Push it, push it, push it.
It's hard.
We will be too.
I share it every time I
Yep,
get over.
that's our goal.
And I can tell because every morning when I get there.
Yeah, she can always tell me. Yeah, whenever we push that out, she can tell. She doesn't even have to look. She sees that influx in applications. Yeah.
And I know the hard part is those older kids in high school say, well, I'm not gonna eat that. And so they don't, if they're like the youngest of everybody that went through in their family and they're saying, I'm not gonna eat that anyway, the parent doesn't feel they need to. So that's what we have to make them understand. Even if your kid's not gonna eat, but you might make it, we need you. Because it makes some other kids get to eat free.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the hard one, right,
Mhm.
Bailey?
It is.
High school.
High school always brings it down a little bit, but this last year they did show great strength.
But if they're all eating, then
We're trying.
Yeah.
they go ahead and eat. Sort of.
They really want to eat.
High school showed great growth last year.
Can we make it to where you get a parking spot, you gotta fill one of those out? I mean, literally.
No, you can't have it. It can't be required.
And I do believe that some of it, if you think about it, the kids are older and the parents have been in their job and, they may not qualify. These are older parents than elementary school parents, so they might.
We get creative. I'll say that. I mean, we exhaust all possible legal avenues that we can.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Misdemeanors ain't bad, baby. Felonies.
No, we're pretty good about interpreting, so
We do
we.
everything at the high school short of taking their hand and doing it for them. So, I don't know what else to do. Everything legally.
It is important because it basically, getting to that 70% threshold, which is where we were close to last year, doubles your one category of your category of funds. That you have a lot of leniency on how you spend it. So it goes, I don't remember the thing, but it doubles it basically. If you get to 90%, it triples it. So it's a big deal.
And
We were
it
like,
stays, what, for 5 years?
68.4.
I knew it was real close.
I don't know that. Sure.
I'm sorry.
Like 5 years?
You can apply for that community eligibility grant that lasts 5 years.
So like,
I have a question on, I don't know if this is the time to ask, but when we made the deal with Church of Christ for the overflow parking lot, did they just say, sure, cut a hole in our fence, put the gravel in, and you can use it? Should we make, like,
we have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding.
okay, but what I'm saying is who maintains that? Because this summer I've just been kind of, since I'm in there anyway, I just have been mowing. So it doesn't get so tall around the edges and stuff, and I've noticed whoever's mowing Meadowview is doing the other side of the parking lot. So I'm thinking, shouldn't we, as a district, be maintaining that parking lot? And that was before Blaine ever got here, so I don't know who's mowing over at the new activity center.
It's Woody.
Woody does. But I can't say that I've told.
If every couple of weeks, if we could just take a pass around it's because it's mostly gravel, but just keep the weeds down. Because when it was a lot, they always mowed it at least once a month.
No, it's off topic also, but we're talking about the co-contract while ago, like sporting events. Have we got it set up where we can start selling merchandise at sporting events, especially in the new activity center? I know that was kind of we've got that space to do so, but.
We've
didn't
talked
do it last
about-
year. I know.
We've talked about that. The issue, from what I understand, that came up last year, I'm gonna stand, I'm sorry, I can't see everybody. But the issue that came up last year was the people who they would have tasked to work in that wanted to watch their kids play ball. And so that was the big issue. I've looked at a couple options, and I need to discuss those more with Mr. Warren and Mr. Ferguson about some possibilities, maybe even, I don't want to say too much in case I'm way out of line here, but maybe even using some people in town that might have a business that would want to come up and have some of their stuff with some of our stuff too, as a possibility.
It's supposed to be like a business class, like
That's what I was
a
thinking.
business class.
Well, see, and I've not even heard that part yet, so that, and if that's the case, then yeah, there's some options we can look at, but that is there. I think it needs to be utilized. I mean, it's,
we built it for a reason.
yeah, and so,
Do we have a marketing class?
We don't have a marketing class, but we have a banking and, business classes, but the thing is with that, and I wouldn't wanna just focus on that. We've got kids that make phenomenal art, you know, with mugs and different things like that. I would wanna put all kids' stuff in there that's made. I don't know if she went and picked it up, but Candace Giffen actually got the donation on a t-shirt machine with the screen print. So, you know, we can do a lot with just, not necessarily a business class, but that's good that we would use it for that, to teach them all about that. But I would wanna include all the kids, because we got welders and I mean, there's so much these kids could create that we can sell easily.
And is there an opportunity for maybe, you know how at U of A at the Walton, they just like have, like our baseball team goes over and does stuff, and you know, sometimes it's playing football, but would one of the clubs or several of the clubs like to take a turn and maybe get X
They
amount
would, definitely.
for that night?
It's just not been proposed to us until tonight.
Well, I thought when we,
Well,
that was the
doesn't
understanding.
doesn't the skills
That's
team
what
have like
we
a
were
marketing
told.
deal too? The
They
skills kids don't take up,
They do.
that's what I was thinking, I remember them talking about it here.
But there's so many options that we could do at the high school, if we just give us
It's
the
another way to
opportunity.
generate revenue.
Absolutely.
I mean, we use tax money to put the spot inside the new gym, we need to be using it.
And Candace and I, Giffen and I have talked about that a little bit, because we've got all these, you know, they can make mugs and pottery, all, you know, we can make Huntsville High School mugs or Eagle mugs, you know, there's just so much that we can.
Our transitions class has a machine where they can actually make
Go for it, we've got a
tumblers.
We've got
It's some cool
CNC
stuff.
machines, plasma, I mean, we got everything that we could possibly get our hands on, so we can make some good stuff.
So do we know, is there something we need to do for the students to be able to work in there? Is there some kind of certification or some kind of class that they need to
Not
take?
that I'm
to
aware
make this
of.
happen?
Not on that, with
Because
food.
It
with
seemed like
food,
last
would
year,
be-
that's what I was told at one point, that they had to have some kind of class to be able to work in that setting.
No.
So as far as the concessions, like there has to be somebody certified in the concessions, but not that I know of.
Not
in
every-
school. Right.
I mean, the Eagle Store, whatever we're calling it. In my opinion, we need to get that thing up and running then.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought we already had planned, because that's what it was kind of sold to us, that's what that was.
There are no other questions or comments, we'll move on to the administration reports.
Did you skip your last bullet point that you saved?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Bruno. School starts tomorrow. That really was it. School starts tomorrow. We are raring to go, excited to go. And that's it.
But we also, did I miss it? Did I see through contracting the third party?
That's on the end.
Oh, yeah, we said
New business.
that. Oh, business. Oh, different business, okay. Business, okay. That's it.
Madison, we'll start with administration.
I don't have anything to add, just the academic report, just getting things rolling. Very proud of our our staff for everything that they've done up to this point to get us ready to roll. And honestly, I mean, I always feel good this time of year just seeing everybody coming back and our first week of PD and the excitement on everybody's faces. But I just feel like this year is a little better than last year, and I just think that we're really starting the year off great, and we've got some. We've done a good job of hiring people, and I'm just really excited about what we're doing moving forward. So.
That's what I talked with Mr. Warren a while ago. I'm excited about the new additions we've got in the district.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. We're excited.
Yep. Just on the tech side of things, we're finishing up. Today was our last day to scramble, and I appreciate the guys. They got out there and got us going. I mean, we learned a long time ago school's going to come whether we're ready or not. So, but I appreciate them. They've really busted out all of our projects this summer as much as we could. So I just want to give a shout out to Sean and Jared and Wesley and John. And we were lucky enough to have 2 summer workers, Devin and Dax, for us this summer. So I appreciate them. On the security side, Mr. Warren had already mentioned we're finishing up that primary lobby. That was a big undertaking, and I got to give a big thanks to Blaine and all those involved with that. I mean, I sure appreciate him. He come in basically, we're building it, and he's having to kind of help facilitate that. So he come in the middle and has made sure that we were able to get that done, because if we didn't get it done this summer, there really wasn't a time to get it done. So we're very excited about that, and that's turned out well. And I just wanted to give a thank you to the city and PD for all that they've been helping us with on the, helping us fix up the street back here so that we can do the parking and all that kind of stuff. So they've been great to work with, and we appreciate them. And I know that they're planning on, I think they said they were going to have 5 or 6 officers staged at all the intersections and stuff tomorrow to help facilitate that. So, but yeah, we're ready to start the school year, and I mean, I'm excited. I agree with Mr. Ferguson. I think this is going to be a great year. I mean, just the culture and atmosphere seems to be so positive, and we're very excited about that. So,
Well, I for one am glad school's starting. That means our summer projects are wrapping up. And like Bailey, I want to give a special thanks to all of our custodians and all of our maintenance guys, because the last month they've really stayed hooked. I've kind of pushed them pretty hard at times to try to get some of this stuff done, because the teachers seem to like to have stuff done before they come to school. So we've been working real hard on that. Mr. Warren kind of stole some of my thunder on some of the projects that our staff had finished up. But I have nothing but good stuff to say about the St. Paul staff. I've not had to worry about them. I don't know what Bruce does to them down there, but they seem to work hard down there. So, but things are we're starting to wrap up our summer projects and able to kind of start moving into more just taking care of what we got. So I'm looking forward to school starting tomorrow.
Is all the locks and everything, the keys?
No, that is something that I've kind of put on the back burner because we've had the primary remodel. We've had, we're still kind of trying to work on the kiln project at St. Paul. I'm still dealing with the fire marshal on it. He actually took a 3-week vacation. The guy that has not taken a vacation in 20 years, they told me, took a 3-week vacation right in the middle of me trying to order all of this stuff. So that is like priority number 1 whenever we get back in school, to get these locks started. Because I've got custodians right now that we're having to share keys with because we've had, we're just kind of struggling on keys. So it'll be a month or 2 project on it. We'll do a campus at a time and getting things going. Bailey's team has worked hard on getting us so that our badges work and we're not so dependent on the keys. So we're getting there.
Thanks to Bailey, before I got here, he had already started ordering some new equipment that we needed up at middle school. Things were getting pretty old and out of function. So we've got a lot of new equipment. Like Mr. Warren said before, we've been really working on the free and reduced, pushing those out to parents. And that's what I have.
Are you pretty confident on the staff levels for your buildings, or?
It varies day to day.
Hour to hour, probably.
Hour to hour, really.
Food services, if you're looking
Yes, yes.
I did want to say something to piggyback on the free and reduced that I just thought of is, this year we are able to offer prizes again, to anyone that fills one out, not just those that qualify. So that's another reason why we're trying to encourage. But Jill has worked with Harps and Walmart to even get gift cards for groceries and that kind of stuff. So we're really trying to push to find, maybe they don't want wireless headphones, but maybe, everyone could use groceries. So we're expanding the scope of prizes that we're able to, offer this year. And so, like I said, that's for anyone that fills one out, regardless of their qualifications. So even if they know they won't qualify, well, they may want one of those prizes. So she's worked real hard on expanding that, and I think we have $100 gas gift card. Yeah. So yeah. So we're really trying to think of any aspect that will appeal to all people, so that we can try to include and continue to get those.
Yeah, anything to motivate someone to fill it out.
Bailey, when we fill them out, do we get a chance to win those?
No, you don't. Well, I guess if you had kids in the district.
Go home, get back on.
Yeah, I guess if you had kids in the district, you could technically qualify.
I do fill mine out every year.
I can't find out.
And we do really, at all possible, encourage them to do it online. That on the back end, it automatically calculates the qualification for us versus paper, where we have to hand figure all that information, and it takes 3 minutes. I think I filled it out with someone last year. It's very simple, very easy. So it's on our website. There's QR codes everywhere. So if at all possible, we definitely encourage them to fill it out online.
Well, I might be the only one, but I'm super excited for a high of 81 tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. Couldn't ask for better temperature for the buses. We might. As usual, we could always use some drivers here in Huntsville. St. Paul's in really good shape. Huntsville, y'all know, we use a couple more at least.
All right, first off, I just want to brag on our coaches. I was pleasantly surprised with how much they have worked this summer, and the athletes coming in at St. Paul and at Huntsville. They have done a great job this summer, so I want to recognize them for the amount of time that they spent up here with their athletes and working on all the things that they've worked on. Football, I want to begin just to give you an idea on my perspective from last night's Maroon-White game that I canceled. So before y'all start throwing stuff at me, it was not an easy decision. I started making phone calls and text messages before 8. We knew the field would be pretty wet. And it was a decision that was not based off of last night. It was based on the future. And it was, we don't want our kids to get hurt, obviously, and playing on a slick field, a muddy field could do that. The grass is in really good shape right now.
It looks great.
And Coach Henderson and his staff have worked their tails off on that field, and it looks in really good shape. And my thought process on this is we don't want anyone hurt, but I would gladly trade a scrimmage game against ourselves for a playoff game in the future. And y'all might be saying, well, playoffs, if you don't plan on the playoffs, you're not going to work hard enough to make them. Yeah. So we're going to plan on making it every year. And if I can trade that game to keep us healthy, to give us a chance to make that playoff game of the year, then to me, that was a no-brainer. I know it wasn't probably a popular decision. I know there's a lot of things that went on around that people were looking forward to, but one of the first texts I made was to our booster club president and said, hey, if we don't do this tonight, can we do a tailgate party at the home first game and bring all that stuff to that? Where can we make this back up in the long term? So there was a lot of discussions that went on with that. They even threw a meet the team together after the practice last night. They went on and had practice on the practice field and had Arvest donated hot dogs and had them cooked, and it was a really good time. So it was not an easy decision, but I promise you guys it was made with the best interest for our kids and for the team and the program in that aspect. So if anybody asks, that gives you an idea of where my headspace was at that time. I wanted to share this. We've been doing a lot to try to make sure that we keep our kids safe, not just with that. I wanted to share this and I'll pass it around. This is a Guardian helmet cap that you guys can feel. If you watch any highlights of like pro or college practice, the pros require these now. Most colleges require these for their students. It is a cap that fits on top of a helmet. It'll strap on and it reduces concussions. And we have been fortunate enough this year. Coach Henderson has pushed for it, and Mr. Warren has been very gracious to us. And we've been fortunate enough that when all of our seventh graders show up tomorrow from seventh grade through senior high, every football athlete will have a Guardian helmet to wear in practice.
They all had them on last night.
Yeah,
I didn't see too many didn't have them.
Yeah,
on
most of them should have. The last shipment came in either yesterday or today. It came, so we have enough now to fit the entire program. And so there's statistics on those is if one person's wearing them, it reduces the impact head trauma by 10%. If both players are wearing them, it reduces it by 20%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if somebody punches you in the head, you'll be thankful for a 10% reduction. It adds up over time. And so our guys will be wearing those Friday night in Stigler. It's legal for us to wear them in a scrimmage game, so we're going to wear them to protect ourselves even if the other side isn't. In a real game, you can't wear them yet. I wouldn't be surprised if some point in the future that becomes a mandatory thing too, but if so, we're ahead of the game. So thank you guys for supporting us on that. I mentioned senior high goes Friday night to Stigler, Oklahoma for a scrimmage game. There'll be 3 teams there, us, Stigler, and one other that I'm not thinking of right now. If I think of it, if it comes to me, I'll do that. That starts at 6 Friday night. The first junior high game will be next Thursday here against Lamar. Then the next night, senior high will go to Lamar for the first regular season game. Hope everybody comes out. Guys, I want to say this, not just to you guys, but to our administrators. You don't understand the impact it has on our kids when they see you at their games. It makes a huge difference. So I want to encourage y'all to make as many of them as you can, because when they see you in the stands, it makes a difference when they see you in the hallways. And so I encourage you all to come for that. Our first senior high home game will be the following week against Prairie Grove, and we will have the tailgate party before the game that the Booster Club is setting up. And then we're also working on a couple other things for some home games that we can highlight, some folks we want to highlight. I don't want to go into too many details yet because I kind of like a surprise. But we're working on a few things that we want to recognize some folks at other home games. So that's football. Volleyball, I'm going to get through this quick, I promise. But I've got to brag on everybody. Volleyball has their benefit scrimmage Thursday night at Springdale, and then their maroon white game is Saturday at 5. So I encourage you to come out. From what I hear, there's a pie auction at this volleyball game that you can get some really good pie if you're willing to pay for it. So, come out and support those girls. They've been working hard. I wanted to mention that Coach Gospener was able to bring UCA's volleyball coaches up to Huntsville to practice with the girls for a day, which was a really cool thing for them to have that experience. They've been to numerous camps over the summer. Our golf team is playing. They've played in 3 matches so far. Our girls team has won all 3 matches to this point. The boys team has won 2 of the 3. And they play again on Thursday up at Oak Ridge, so they're doing well. They're a young team, which is exciting. They've got a lot of future in them, and they're building confidence with each match. Our cheer team will be competing this year in competition cheer for the first time. So we're taking the step up. They're going to get to go and compete on the state level. Mr. Ferguson helped a lot with this, but we've been able to order them a complete set of competition mats, which is huge for competition and their safety as well. They have a handful of them, but some of them are pretty worn out. And if you fall and don't land on those mats, it hurts. It still hurts when you land on them too, but it's better than nothing. So we've been able to order them a complete set of mats. I'm currently in the process of looking to find them a home, a place where cheerleaders can just say, hey, this is our place, especially with that many mats. We need to do that. So I'm just exploring some possibilities and ideas on that. But it's something that I hope at some point we can find for them to have their own place. Last night, I met with the city council for a softball presentation. Those girls went to the city council and made a presentation to them about some needs that they would like to see happen out at Mitchison Park. for the softball team. They saw the things that happened on the baseball field and said, well, why not us? And in that aspect, I'm proud of them. And they made a very, very good presentation to the city council. The council was very receptive to that. I'm asking, and I will get them on the agenda for next month, that they can come and make that same presentation to you guys, because I want you to hear what our girls are saying and what they feel like they need. And so it's something that I think is exciting for them, and I'm glad to see them take pride in their program and want the best for it. And so I'm happy about them. And so next month we should have them here. We're starting a bowling team. Miss Enix and Miss Watkins were huge in that and getting that going, and we're excited about that. That was not even on my radar when we got here, and it has fallen into place. We've secured a practice facility, and I'm working on contacting schools in the area that has a bowling team so we can develop a schedule and things like that. But from what I understand, there's been a lot of interest from kids and from our students here. I'm almost done, I promise. AAA cards for you guys, I'm still working on. If you have questions, meet me after this and we'll try to work it out. It has been, well, this is getting recorded, so it's been fun. But Dragonfly is user friendly. It needs insect repellent. It is what it is. So if you have questions on that, get with me. Our first cross country meet is September 2nd. They go to Shiloh, I believe, for that. So everything is rolling full speed ahead, and we haven't even started school yet. And it's an exciting time. I'm happy to be here and happy to be working with these coaches and these athletes. And thank y'all for supporting everything we're doing. And just appreciate everything you're doing. And I will be meeting with the admin soon to work on that merchandise store and get that rolling, because it needs to happen. I agree with you. So
I will say, I know Coach Gosvinger in the volleyball, they've got a deal going with merchandise actually right now.
Yes, yeah.
On their, I think it's their Facebook page.
Right.
You go click the link, you can get some pretty cool gear.
Through Fan Claw company, and it's,
it benefits the team too. So if anybody needs any fan gear,
yeah,
go
and that's
on their Facebook page.
Good company to work with too.
Future use, don't put me after him. No, I'm just teasing. Appreciate everything, Coach Preston. Listen to him, does it not get you fired up
It
for
does.
the athletics coming up? Absolutely. The old coach in me is coming out, I can promise you. That's awesome. Good deal. You know me, good evening. I want to talk about open house first. I thought open house went great. Thursday night, one of the staff members told me at the high school it's the most they can remember in their time being there of the parents that turned out. So, like I told the staff at their PD days, I think that's a reflection of what we're trying to do with developing the culture and climate at the school and getting the community involved. So I think that's starting to show. Lots of elementary kids and community and parents were there, and we ended up with the party on the playgrounds, serving snow cones and introducing the staff on the stage. And I think Mr. Warren made it down in time for some of that. So it was just good to get the community back and get going. For our PD days, I do want to give a shout out to Cross's Church and the St. Paul Public Library for feeding the staff on our 2 PD days that we had back at campus. It's great when we can get together in fellowship like that and just take time to enjoy each other. I know a lot of times we give a shout out to our own staffs and well deserved, but I haven't done this, but I've got to give a shout out to everybody in this room. Mr. Ferguson sent out an email yesterday or today about appreciating the job that principals and the admin team does, and everybody chimed in. I got to tell you, we couldn't do this without relying on each other, and that goes for everybody in here. And so, just a big shout out to them. We're excited about getting to school tomorrow. We got first day activities planned at all the buildings, and we'll see how everything rolls tomorrow when we come in. I know you have our school improvement plans in front of you, I believe, and if you got any questions, feel free to hit me up about it.
I'm just really excited about school tomorrow. I feel like the teachers we were putting supplies in their boxes today, and I'm ready for the kids to be there. We worked really hard. We've been putting up our behavior expectations throughout the hallways and the classrooms and the bathrooms. We put them in frames. They look really nice, and
I think that, I just really feel like Mr. Ferguson said, this is gonna be a good year. I have a good feeling. We hired some really great faculty members at the high school. I just feel really good. Feel really good about it. Now, I can't wait till tomorrow. Probably won't sleep tonight. So I was looking at also our school improvement plan, and y'all can ask me questions about that because it's not all on there, all the other, I talk way too much, but I was looking at the senior list. We have approximately 15 seniors going to get internships this year. And that ranges from, we've got one doing survey, he's gonna be a surveyor. We've got doing CNA, we've got one kid doing cabinet making. He went and got his own stuff and did that. We've got people in daycares and preschools. So that's a lot of internships for kids. And I'm sure we'll have welding and diesel, we always do. But I just wanted to make that comment about that. That's big. For there's 145 in the senior class, 12 of them have internships. So that's really good. We also added another section of welding because we had so many. If you remember this time last year, we didn't even have a welding teacher, and we had to add another section because the interest. We've got several from St. Paul coming up to do that. Also, we have we're flip-flopping every other year with EMT and CNA. That way they can get both. So we're running that this year. We have the CDA that I know you're super excited about, first in the state of Arkansas to do that. So that's really cool. I know I've talked about the junior bank board before. Like he said, I want the kids to get here and talk to you about that. I don't want to steal all that away from them, but they'll have their first meeting at the end of this month, and there are 11th or 12th graders on that, so that's really good. And they're a mix of all kinds of kids. It's just really neat. And Arvest is helping us out with that. It is an Arvest program, so that's why Ashley skates. Ashley, she's helping us with that. She's going to be. I'm letting her go to the Federal Reserve instead of me, but she's gonna owe me big time for that. Yeah, bring me some money back. That's what she can do. We did start an attendance committee this year because it is one of our goals. Kids don't want to come to school. I didn't either when I was a kid, but I'm in charge now, so they have to come to school. But we've got steps in place for that. We'll have teachers, faculty on that, and they'll have to come before the attendance committee. So, but they're going to know well ahead of time that this is going to happen. So y'all can ask me questions about that too. I do want to, he was talking about football. I want to brag on our football players because Rod Harrington, y'all may know him, may not know him. He's done sports for us since I've been here. But he made a comment that when one of the coaches or somebody had said that this was Rod's last night, because this was last night at the hot dog thing. And he said the kids shook his hand, the boys shook his hand and said, thank you for covering your sports all this time. That made me happy as a principal, that our boys took it upon themselves to do that. And they do those types of things. It's not like we coach them up on that. They're just good kids, and they have good parents that, support those types of things. So I just wanted to brag on them. I also want to brag on the police because he was talking about the city police. They're actually there doing, maneuvers or something at the high school. They've been there several times. Todd Thomas has been up there. Captain Herring's been up there. There were several there when we left. They were getting ready to, do their whatever they do to get criminals and such inside the high school. That was really nice. They mapped it out. They knew where everything was. So that was really great. I want to brag on Blaine Ogre. He came into a mess, and I know I drive him nuts because I'm needy, but he's done it with a smile. So I am thankful for that. I also want to comment on Coach Preston. I don't know when the last time anybody paid attention to cheerleaders. So that made me happy that you are doing that because sometimes they get overlooked. Softball gets overlooked, so that makes me really excited. And with that, I also want to thank Koger Surplus, Bettina, across the street over here. we're making a teacher's lounge because we're working on culture where the teachers can go and sit and have lunch and actually talk to adults for a little bit during lunch. We've been working on that, and I called her the other day and I asked her if she had any couches. I told her what I wanted because I wanted to put them in there, and she said, well, if you'll take these two, I'll give them to you. I'm like, I'll take them, so we don't have to buy them. So they donated 2 little mini couches. So I want to give a shout out to the team across the street because that was really nice. So I have lots more to say, but I'm going to let my friends go next. His first time.
First time,
debut.
yeah. So I'm Chris Johnson, middle school principal, and I first just want to say thank you on behalf of the people in this room, the admin staff, teachers at my school. The community has just been very welcoming, and it's an honor to be here and serve the community of Huntsville. And so I've been hitting the ground running. I've been here 28 days, I think now, and so been working day and night to try to get ready. And I'm just fortunate to have a great group of teachers, and you did a great job of hiring Miss Down. She's been a huge support, and we're ready to hit the ground running. We've had a great turnout at open house. Saw a bunch of smiling faces, and it was packed. And so I was real worried about the logistics of being on the hill, and so it's been great. Went to my first Friday, and so just again meeting people in the community, and it was just awesome. And so we've had a great couple of days of teacher PD. Got a great staff. So we're just ready to hit the ground running. We've been really working on building relationships with one another. And I think it's important that we build those relationships with the students, and it's a place where kids want to come when they walk in our school, when they walk in our building. And so, and I got a collective commitment from our teachers to do that. And so we're excited about that, and we want to bring pride to our schools. And so our behavior matrix is focused on that. It's focused on pride and what that looks like in the classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria. And so again, I'm excited and looking forward to seeing about 520. It seems like it grows every day. Those smiling faces tomorrow morning. And so glad to be here. Thank you all.
I think that's the biggest middle school class that I can ever remember. I think we got a little over 500 while I was up there, but 520 kids. That's a lot at middle school. So, yeah.
I don't have a whole lot to follow up with on that besides just I 100% agree with everything that Chris has said. The work with the staff was really powerful yesterday, and then work with the staff Friday over at the intermediate, because I worked together at the intermediate on Friday, doing similar types of things, looking at school missions and really kind of digging deep and doing hard work about coming together, again, that collective commitment of teachers working all towards that common goal, moving in the same direction, and knowing that at both schools I've got a whole lot of support from the staff on both fronts. It's, there's people that are coming up to me and thanking me and being appreciative, and I still don't even know all of their names. And so that is my biggest and first priority at this point, is really to build my relationships with those staffs and at both schools. So I cannot imagine working with 2 other principals than I'm working with. So I really appreciate the support that I get from both of them. Being new to administration and new to Huntsville, there's been a lot to learn, and Chris and I are kind of learning together, but Kayla's been a huge asset to both of us, and I know that she walked my road last year, and all the respect on that for sure. So I'm saying just really, really looking forward to seeing kids. You can plan and plan and plan and plan, and all the days of planning don't actually get you ready to roll. So let's just roll, right? Let's bring them in and let's do this.
Well, I sat here and I realized that every day is Groundhog Day for me.
I'll never watch that movie with the same.
Tina, do we need to change banks again?
I tried to keep her on her toes, obviously I need to do something. Come in tomorrow.
I'll be up here tomorrow and put her up there.
I'm never bored, I promise. I really don't have.
I don't think I can top
My department's full, as always, and we're ready to go. I feel more prepared than we have in the last 2 or 3 years. I only have one spot open, so very happy about that. Thank you, Blaine and his group. When he came in, I had a long list of, I have to have it done right now, and pretty much pulled that off for us. So we have a conference room at the high school that we're able to use, something that they can have our conferences in confidentially and have therapies, and we have that taken care of. And all of the improvements with the funding we got for the playground. There's only one little thing about moving that fence over so that it's an all-inclusive playground, but it's coming. So if somebody gets excited about that, it's coming. It's all going to be included together. So I think it looks great, and they've worked really hard on that. So that's it.
Well, just for like a split second, I had just for just a second. But, you know, I just liken this day tonight to Teachers Christmas Eve, right? As parents, like we go out and we buy all the toys and we have all the excitement. We get it all under the tree and we just sit and wait. And that's what this night feels like. This is my 20th year and it still feels that way. And so I'm excited about tomorrow. I know, you know, we just keep saying the same thing, but changing a footprint of a building is a big deal. And to do it in literally 1 month, it was stressful. I didn't know how I was going to keep Carrie contained. If she's listening to this, she'll kill me for saying that. But I mean, it's just, there's a lot to it when you're moving a main office, and they did a phenomenal job. It looks amazing. I have to just also shout out to Candace Samuels for our new door decals. We wanted something to make it look like an elementary school. A building that's built in 1965 and has a lot of concrete around it. There's not a whole lot you can do. And she and I just kind of met together, and she took our baby eagle and see us soar and just went with it. And they're beautiful, and I'm very thankful for that. So we're just excited and ready to start this year off, and I just have to agree with everybody else. I have a great feeling that this is really going to be our best year.
So mid-July, we went to a Johnson's Renaissance Conference. Bruce actually recommended it. It's for like culture in your school and so forth. So last year we really worked on culture and we attended that. And we just come back, you know, really wanting our kids to feel welcome and be here. And we're going to work really hard on building relationships with our families. And basically there they teach you, like, your walls tell a story. And we want our walls to tell a story of how we want kids here. We want their stuff posted. So we want to be very welcome to that. We're doing this thing I told the staff at some, like, it's kind of corny, but we love it. #swag, and it's steadily working toward academic growth. So that's going to be, we're going to do #swag on our Facebook stuff. We're just getting ready to get back in the swing of things. Teachers have worked really, really hard. We're going to work on triangulating our data this year, taking different data points, working toward growth. We're going to have an actual PLC room while we have some room available until some of these bigger classes get to us, and really track that. And also, I want to hit, we had a great open house. We had tons of people as well. People are excited to get back. We're ready for tomorrow. And I am thankful for everyone here and our staff, students, community, because we are a team. And I don't know how we would make it without each other.
I know we did the prayer walk Sunday, and your hallway did look very happy and inviting on the wall.
yeah, we're excited. We're hoping to do more.
I had something real quick, because it'll be before the next board meeting.
First card.
Pioneer Day, September 8th and 9th. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. So, everybody come down and have a good time, September 8th and 9th.
If you haven't ever been to that, it's a pretty cool deal. I used to have to work it when I was a deputy. And
You wanna come back? We got some spots
It's a
open.
lot of fun.
Yeah. It is really neat.
I can tell you some stories.
We had the Porta party, Porta party Friday before last to raise money for the Porta Potties for Pioneer Day. And the funds were raised. So Tiffany told me last count it was a little over $1,000. So it's it's to get the porta potties and the watering stations, hand washing stations and stuff down there. So really good. And if you, I want to say something about the conference Kayla and I went to. You know, if you're ever frustrated and why am I still doing this? This is my 32nd year. You will leave that conference wanting to get back in the classroom and be with the kids. I can promise you that. It's the best conference, including coaching conferences, that I've ever been to in my life. It's flat out amazing. It's wonderful.
These folks have worked extremely hard. They put a lot of effort into what they're doing. And I'm very happy to be included in the county. Okay, thank you all.
If they're this cheerful at the next board
Moving on to new business. We have a few items, 5 different items on there for this evening. We have the approval of the school transfer resolution. Act 731 of 2023 permits the board to delegate student transfer petitions authority to me. We would still report, these are the students who have transferred in or out. But what this allows is that if there's not if it's not contested, so if we're not denying the student transferring in, at that point there's a process, they get an appeal and stuff like that. It just allows me to say, okay, we'll let that transfer. And then at each board meeting, instead of having board action on it, we would just report, here's the transfer. So there aren't any questions about that.
So, I mean, does that mean we just, like, say somebody wants to transfer in there and they're, I'm not very politically correct, I mean, what wrong?
Not a nice.
So if they have,
Not really a desirable person
they've been
to
under
a school.
The example is expulsion. So if they are under expulsion or suspension and we say, no, you know what, we can't do it, then we would, at that point, they would have the process to come and appeal to the board. But if there's no issues, then
Like
we
if
would.
they've been here in the past, they transferred to another school and they want to come back, I mean, do we look into it that deep before we say, yeah, come on back?
We ask, unless they've moved residence.
That's what I thought. I've seen that happen.
You know, we try to track down and make sure that we know. And then there's, we are at the spot like we have space potential issues, things like that we can analyze as well. So those are different. They wouldn't necessarily come before you at that point. But
Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Nate, second by Josh, all in favor?
okay, so next is the teacher and administrator recruitment plan. This is an annual thing that we do for the State Department. It is a 3-year plan. We updated it from last year. It does have many of the same elements from last year though, so it's just something that you're always working on. You're always trying to get the staff here. Mr. Ferguson is listed on that first goal, action steps, trying to utilize Universities and Career Center for recruitment efforts, and actually he was able to recruit somebody last year.
Secured a Spanish teacher.
That's
out
right.
of, the career fair, so
Through that process.
it was worth it.
You know, it also gears towards trying to recruit, minority personnel as well. And then we utilize the specialists at the co-op, the Northwest Arkansas Cooperative, to try and recruit as well. Each one is a different. So each goal is different. The one in blue is we will use Northwest Arkansas for their NWA ESC for mentoring program. Since ESSER has gone away, we will look at, can we continue to do compensation in another way, in another source this year. We're going to provide professional development to our teachers to help support them, to help retain them. We'll try to make sure our novice teachers are supported. Try to lower our attrition rate within the district year to year. And then the green is another extension of another goal, where we're trying to utilize REACH program, and we have a few people who are in that program itself, which is a online teaching credentialing program. It's a university basically, but it's online. It gives you a certification value. And the teacher residency program, which was new last year. So
yeah, which we're still working on getting the kinks worked out on the residency program, and I'll say I'm meaning the state education providers. For example, one of our teachers that we were going to set up on that, and still plan to work towards that. She's attending the U of A, and U of A is on the list of approved sites, but the U of A, I talked to them and they said that they're not set up for the program, and so we're going to have to sit down and have some meetings and try to figure out how we work this out. And, it's a brand new program. That residency program is for the State Department, so there's still a lot of things that everybody's got to get on the same page on, and so we're working through that currently.
there aren't any questions.
You have to approve the plan.
You have to approve the plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Connie, all in favor?
Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of the school improvement plans. They are listed out in order from Watson Primary through Huntsville High School to St. Paul. I won't go through each of them, but if you have questions regarding the revolving around literacy, for the most part, using the data that we get from our testing sources to help us improve our scores and our scores overall. So, if you have any questions,
Could we get a mid-year, like January report on how the goals are like last year? approve the improvement plans.
Second by Steve, all in favor?
Next is the approval of special education contracts. These are, you should have a list of 7 entities or people that we contract out for special services through our special education program, and then we'll attach contracts that go with them. They're pretty standard. I think they provide services that we have to have.
Right. Have we changed any providers?
We did change from Therapy to David Surratt, or Kyle Surratt, I'm sorry, for OT services, a better rate. So.
We set up there, don't we, for everything?
We're still using Therapy for St. Paul for speech and OT.
I just haven't been on that contract over the place.
Yeah, but it's not as much as we
Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Steve, second by Natalie, all in favor?
Okay, last but not least, I appreciate your patience and letting me work through this and letting us work through this. The approval for contracted service for night custodial work at the Huntsville High School campus. We solicited bids for contracting our night custodial services. It's become a necessity mainly due to staff. We don't, I hate to say it that way, but we've been advertising all summer long and all year long, and we thought we had some even extra, and then we're back to where we don't have the candidates in the pipeline to be able to say that we fill the spots that we have right now. And this is one way to go about filling that need that we have at the high school.
How long is it for?
Till the end of June.
So this cost, is this more or less than what it would be if we had people in place to do it?
It depends on how the next page is kind of the cost analysis. It kind of depends on how you look at it. When we looked at what we would be doing to fill those spots, we would put in a 240 person at 3 of them, but that's what we would hire. You can see the total estimated cost there, bullet point on the very bottom is $88,000. So if you take that number, it's less. If we did 3 staff at 180-day contracts, it would be $69,000. So it's equal. So they are putting in 4 persons working 4-hour shifts during the time frame. We did that at 180. It would be less than what the bid is for what we have right now. But they have people ready to go. They have said even tomorrow. It does alleviate. We're not having to interview people. We're not having to process them through human resources anymore.
Our custodial staff's not having to work doubles.
Exactly. So.
Say this contract we're in with them, if they don't do a good job, is it one we still gotta honor or buy out, or can we cut them?
I'm pretty sure we can cut them if there's issues, but they're gonna work with us to make sure that they're getting what we need out of them.
They're insured and all this, we ain't got no liability to them.
What is it, the provider is part of the TIPS program?
TIPS is a kind of an interstate bidding program that basically they provide a price to that TIPS program, and then you don't have to. They're giving you their most qualified bid price for all these services.
Guaranteeing the bid, so that you're getting a good.
We're looking at this as a short-term solution.
That's correct.
And is there any reason people from Huntsville can't apply to this company and get a job?
No, No, they would welcome it, yeah.
Monday. Second by Amber. All in favor?
Thank you all. Next on the agenda is the student transfer request. This will be the last time, even though we approved the other one, we still need to approve these as well. We had 5 transfer out.
Josh, second by Steve, all in favor?
Okay, last action item is the personnel resignations, hires, and transfers. You see the list of classified, certified for each category. And I'm going to point out, I'm sorry, I don't like doing this. The very last one, transfer on classified, Gary Klein. This came in at the very end of the day today. But it was, if we can get it approved tonight, it helps with payroll and things like that. Nutrition worker in the same building, from nutrition worker to cafeteria.
Can I get a motion to approve hires and transfers?
I have a question first, so I guess I can ask it after.
Sure.
How close are we, what work was done since we met at our last, towards the classified salary? Have we been, how close are we?
We met with, you know, CBPC and PPC have not, they won't start up until September, because they'll hold their elections. Is that what you asked? I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking, where are we? Because I noticed a lot of these people that resigned mentioned we couldn't afford to work for us. So that's why I'm like, how close are we? Because these people have been waiting around for an entire year.
We met as an administrative group that is in charge of personnel budget. So Tasha had to discuss what can we do, what are our options to be able to do, and kind of laid out, here's what we think we can do throughout the year. But we haven't solidified any numbers. It was go and plug these in and see what, if they work with the personnel that we have in place.
Well, I just don't know that we can let our classified people hang on a hope of maybe by January. I'm just saying, this is, we've been hanging there for a whole year with the, we're working on it. And I know that you couldn't necessarily tell them till we finish, but now I think we need to be moving very fast to get to that point.
We are. I promise.
It's gotta go before CPC.
The process will be, we will, you know, once CPPC and PPC are organized, which changed a little bit, not much, but it changed a little bit, their time frame, things like that. And we will have, here's our plan for this upcoming year with regards to salaries and anything else that we have. And our goal is to present that to them in not September, maybe not September, but by October, so that then it's presented to you all by November. Okay.
Can I get a motion for the approval of hires and transfers? Motion by Josh. Nick, all in favor?
That is all I have. That is all I have.
We have to read that.
Oh, yeah, that. I'm sorry. Not doing well. Okay, personnel classified. Resignation, Stephanie Kirk, HIS paraprofessional, August 1. NBA Cup nutrition worker, July 31st. Faye Vaughn, nutrition worker, August 1st. Jeff Sharp, custodian, July 31st. Tina Brown, nutrition worker, July 31st. Blaine Graves, HHS paraprofessional, special ed paraprofessional, August 2nd. 7th. Kristen Sloan, HIS building secretary. We put the date, but it was in August. It's coming up, but it was last week. Tina Honeycutt, HHS migrant ESOL aide, August 7th. James Matt Dunham, athletic department custodial, August 14th. Donald Skates, HMS custodial, August 15th. Heather Walden, bus driver, August 14th. Hires, certified Alma Waddell, WPS special education teacher, July 1st. Owen Hall, HMS teacher, 190, July 1st. Classified, Jonathan Spees, HIS paraprofessional, August 1st. Natasha May, HIS special education paraprofessional, August 9th. Lillian Turner, St. Paul paraprofessional, August 8th. Allison Kelly, HMS paraprofessional, August 16th. Claudia Eoff, WPS pre-K custodian, August 1st. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
If you never heard that one before, it's so different.
Transfers, Christina Sloan, HIS special education paraprofessional to HIS computer lab paraprofessional. Susan Bailey, WPS night custodian to HIS day custodian. Janita Henderson, Jardina, sorry. HMS special ed paraprofessional to HIS building secretary, 200-day contract, August 16th. Carrie Klein, HIS nutrition worker to HIS kitchen manager, August 16th. Thank
Anybody have any comments? I know I should say thank you guys for all your hard work this summer. We're really looking forward to the school year. Anybody else?
We appreciate y'all, really do.
All the teachers and all the hard work that goes into all of that, making it all work. I know it's a lot of work.
You get to see a lot of
I
it.
get to see it. I forgot. It was at our special meeting the other night with our training. I said there needs to be a fraternity for teachers' husbands. All the shelves and the this and the that.
Like a support group.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Carmen, second by Steve, all in favor?
you.